drifted alarmingly in the betting was, Felsted in the morning continued to drift. It was late on the exchanges to lose. It was something you'd see in a Dick Francis novel, Charles Buttons.
The ground is soft. It's
heavy.
It's soft on times.
It's heavy.
Okay.
And a very warm welcome to the Bar Steward's Inquiry Sunday Sermon. And this Sunday sermon is dedicated to the great man in Ireland. No, it's not JP, it's not the green and gold.
The real great man.
It's Icy. It's Garage. From the Emerald Isle, who basically came on this show incredibly bullish, tipped us Waterville and said, this will win. And not at the price that it sort of was after the show went out. It was good odds. And joining me tonight to chew the fat on all the racing topics that we've got for you, as well as reviewing the last couple of days at Newmarket, etc., is myself, John Lang, and Chris. Good evening, chaps.
Good evening.
Good evening, Lee.
Yes, very chipper after today, and thanks to Icy. He knows. It's a good job he knows what he's doing. Like he said in his Twitter,
he's the bit that's not entirely shit.
Yes, he's the bit. That's it. That's why we can call our podcast Not Entirely Shit. Like he accurately says on his Twitter, you lot know fucking nothing.
Yeah. Nothing, really.
Mind you, I would beg to differ on that, actually.
Well, go on, John.
I've spent a very informative morning today.
Go on.
I had a look at the politics show this morning and listened to the interview with Kwasi Kwarteng,
right?
The king of trickle-down economics.
Yeah.
Now, the first thing that had me wondering was, did they get Kwasi Kwarteng by breeding Kananga from Live and Let Die with no
Last 5 minutes now.
I missed the second bit. So it's Kananga from Live and Let Die.
With Nana Masturi.
Fucking hell. You've lost your Apple Safe rating now for the podcast.
Possibly.
Yeah.
That didn't the next bit well, because I've got my explanation now for trickle-down economics.
Right.
And how it works. After watching this detailed interview, I have a thorough understanding of the state of the country's finances. And it can be likened to this. Find the richest person you know, ideally a bloke. Arrange for a high-class hooker to go around and pay for it for him and tell him that's what you're doing. Probably a 3 to 4 grand job, the type that Andrew Neil takes to the spectator parties.
Yeah, they'll do the lot for you. Yeah.
Exactly, anything. In the ears if you want.
Yeah.
After that, you'll go around and you ask if you can lick his cock. That is trickle-down economics.
I see. Interesting analysis.
You see, this is proper political analysis on that. We don't do politics very much, but I'll allow John on this one instance to make some amazing analogies with regards to trickle-down economics.
Yeah.
John. Yeah. You see, we don't prep. That proves we prep nothing on this show. John surprises me with many things, and he continues to do so. Now you've got that firmly in your head.
Yeah.
Kwasi Kwarteng and Dr. Kananga and licking phalluses. Now you've got that firmly in your head as you listen to the show. We shall now do the review. Obviously, racing took place, and what better to start? We're going to start with the Irish Says. I would have paid money, actually. In fact, I hope he's filmed himself, actually. I would pay money to see Icy's face after the first couple of furlongs in the Irish Says, Chris.
Yes, definitely. I had written the bet off very early doors. I thought, well, this will be lucky to be in the first half dozen. But Icy's face would have been a picture, wouldn't it?
Non-jigger, wasn't
it? It shows what a good bet it was. Most people say, "Oh, it's only just one," but it's much the best. That's it. It's considerably the best. And the bet was correct, because it wouldn't have mattered if it had finished fourth. You'd have still, in a close fourth, you'd have still said it's much the best.
Yeah.
So just because it won, yes, everyone gets paid, which is fantastic. But that's racing, and that's the pain that everyone endures on a daily basis. When
give half a furlong, haven't he?
When you looks out and you know you're on bad runs, they're fast finishing next second, and you feel like nut in the wall. And so I can only imagine Icy's emotions during that race, which I reckon would have been massively. In the final 2 furlongs, the man's out of his chair, and he's riding around the room on hobby horse, isn't he?
Drawing out, the head going backwards as the line approaches, all of that. Yeah, I was as well. I was having a stroke at that point. It was.
What's also impressive, am I right in saying? Because I have a lot of joy. Lot of joy was his
Cesarewitch.
Cesarewitch. So that's ran third, and a blinder, and was well bet. So yeah, I mean the man really he's no one ever has this game by the kahunas, but at the moment he's got the game by the kahunas.
Ever wavered. I messaged him this morning and sort of made a sort of a comment. I said, "Oh, this has lost a leg," because it was drifting like a barge, wasn't it, on the machine? There wasn't obvious sort of confidence behind it, and I thought, and he was emphatic. He said, "Don't panic." He said, "Nothing's changed. Just kind of have more on. This wins."
I think that's it. In a race, like I'm also of that ilk. In a race of that magnitude, as in massive prize money,
yes.
There's nothing underhand. It's not. Yes. It's not. Yeah, that's out of the question.
Maiden hurdle at Cork, then perhaps more nervous.
Sets off last.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, wonder. But you knew it was at it, but you think, oh Christ, you'd expect the lads to be piling in, but there wasn't. It didn't collapse as I thought it might. But who cares? What does the machine know? It knows nothing.
I mean, like, very impressive, and I'm pleased for listeners as well, and like you say, Icy's. We're lucky because like Icy actually asked to come on this year, and it wasn't the other way around. Icy said, I'll come on, bloody well, and that's it. And he comes on when he wants. When people say get him on, it's not a case of us getting him on. He just says to me, I'm coming on.
Fuck off now.
It's not in my power. I mean, he might be sought after. If he gets a 36k Yankee up, John, that'll be it. I mean,
he'll need another platform anyway, because we'll be getting Richard, won't we?
We'll not see him again. John's off as well.
If those other legs get chinned, people say, it's fuck all.
We can give it him. But no, excitement for above the curve. If anyone's done the double and like in bigger stakes rather than the Yankee, that's you're all sleeping well tonight. Anyway, just rest of the action. 3:05 today. Art Power. It is a bit of an after-timey, smarmy point from me, but I thought Art Power did look
going for it, didn't it?
Yeah, it did look good today, and it did produce the goods. It ran right up to its best, and very impressive.
A bit faster too, really, wouldn't you?
Thick Dave showed everyone how thick he was. Him winning impressively and giving it a great ride there in the Renaissance today. Saturday's action then. Going to look at Newmarket, not in massive depth. What I can tell you, John, is that Lazoo ran the last 3 furlongs quicker than Blackbeard in the Cheveley Park. They went a good pace in the middle part though. So I'm always like, with these sectionals you can always get carried away, but I've got a feeling that the Cheveley Park is very strong form. I just think I tie the Moiglair in with Meditate as strong form. She was dropping back to see.
Meditate's a good marker, isn't she?
Yeah.
And Marge looked well before the race as well, so I think that's probably hit the sailing there with that one. I think that's probably as good as that can do. So I think that them front 3 are pretty solid.
Well, Lazoo dipped under 11 seconds twice in the race. She's got gears. She's got more gears. So if people are thinking the mile for Lazoo next year, I don't think she'll get it. She'll not stay. She's got too much to. I think we're probably going to see Lazoo 6-stroke 7 furlongs if she trains on. What's worrying for me, John, is why they ran the zoo quite often this summer. Is it as if like they expect her not to train on? That's in a way that's what put me off her in the Cheveley Park, because I'm thinking they were making her while the sun shone, middle of summer. So
I think what she's done up to press, you couldn't roll her out with the guineas unless it was on stamina.
Looking at say, I'd say a big worry for stamina.
Yeah, she's got enough in the boat to put her in the mix in the guineas, but she's shown such speed, and the Teddy Gray certainly doesn't scream a mile, not to me anyway. And whereas really, I think Meditate ought to get a mile. There's no Dalakani there, and the indications think that probably get the trip.
Yeah, I think just like with the size of some of these O'Brien 2-year-olds as well, I do think some of them hold the advantage in terms of early physical progression, which can be a bit of a smokescreen sometimes when you're transitioning from 2 to 3.
I mean, of the three, Marge is probably the one that's most likely to go on next year. You know, she's a good size, got a bit of scope to her. New approach mare, you know, definitely ought to get them out. That might be the one if people were desperate for a punt on the guineas out of that race.
But they won't give Dusty Bin the big carrots.
No. No, she'll probably turn up at Ascot with blinkers on the first time up. And...
Cambridgeshire stand side as always. It just seems to be a recent trend that whatever finishes fast out stands rail, what stand side seems to win. Majestic.
Windmill wins the Lincoln and the Cambridgeshire. Now that's a funky double, isn't it?
It is. That's a good spot. I forgot he won Lincoln. Lincoln, Cambridgeshire, Mick Windmill.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, to fuck everybody up the arse.
I say it kind of sums the season up, doesn't it?
It does, really.
Yeah. Bookending it with shit.
Anything else Saturday, John, that sort of like floated your boat?
I thought that Roy Lodge was a cunt of a race with the slow pace and everything. I think you'd be struggling to give anything a 3-figure 8 out of that.
Yeah, the time really slow, a farce of a time.
Still race.
Yeah.
I'd put a line straight through that. Blackbeard probably didn't beat an awful lot. Marshman pulled worse than welfare playing practice.
Marshman, you felt for Marshman backers after a fail. I don't know why he did that. Because he's not. I mean, he is a bit on the. You know,
the funny thing was, Carl Burke was saying before the race that he thought it was better that he'd gone there with a nice gap between the gimcrack and this, because he'd only run 10 days before the gimcrack. Now I just wonder if this is also that's better with a bit of freshness off him. So it might be good for Marshman fans. Not that there'll be many about, owned by Nick Bradley, but if he was to run in a trial and pull like buggery and then turn up at the Guineas 33s or 40s, he could be quite interesting on the day. That would be me note that I've got on Marshman at the minute. Expect him to pull like fucking a trial, bomb out, everybody thinks he's done with, and then the persistent running the Guineas, and he's on the premises about 40s.
So you'd run in a track.
Absolutely, get the freshness off him.
Would you go Craven or Greenham?
Greenham.
Yeah. Is that because it's closer?
Yeah. Just get that freshness off him and make sure if he's going to run like he did yesterday, you're better off doing it in a trial, aren't you?
Yeah. No. Advice for Carl Burke if you're listening.
Yeah, you're out there, Carl, listening.
Yeah.
And
there we go. John, by the way, John's got Ollie off to a tee. Look at Tempest the other day. Couldn't settle Tempest. It was John said it all season about Holly and settling horses. And it's sad to say because I think she's a terrific person, terrific jockey. But certain types of horse. John, do you think True Shannon would be better with a different jockey?
For me, definitely. I think the Doyle is tailor-made for him. Really.
What True Shannon?
Yeah.
What James Doyle?
Yeah.
Not Ollie Doyle.
No, the Doyle.
The Doyle.
Well, not Bodie.
The
Doyle.
main Doyle. I get mixed up with all
I
these
don't
Doyle.
call it Mrs. Marquand.
I know. I always call Tom Marquand Tom Doyle because I reckon she beats him up. I've seen her guns. I mean, it's massive. I mean, if one left up, one was like Joe Joyce, the juggernaut.
She knocked the piss out of Tom. If
lives in fear.
There's no way my money would be going anywhere near Tom.
Yeah. In fact, every time they ride together, it's like they come in at final furlong, and if it's like if Ollie's in front and Tom's in second, I always said to the producer, I says, "Nah, she'll not let him pass.
Yeah.
You know, he'll be curtains for him if he gets up." Anyway, enough of random chat. We'll go to Friday. The Group 3 was eventually won impressively, the Dubai Stakes, by Eternal Pearl. Didn't look likely about furlong and a half out. She looked to be struggling to pick Peripatetic up, but an impressive late burst to get up, John.
Yeah, not entirely sure what she might really with Peripatetic. You'd have to say that one.
I think she's improved. She has improved for 12 though. I always said I can remember being at Goodwood and Chris was with me and I said to Chris, I said Peripatetic needs 12 and they ran Peripatetic over 10 in I think handicap there. And I just think she's slow. I just think she probably even do better for either on it Park Hill.
I didn't think Eternal Pearl had to hit a mark to win.
No, I probably agree with that. Very impressive win for Commissioning in the Rockfell.
Yes. Quite unfurnished still, I thought.
Unfurnished. Interested, right? Ken Pitterson,
Yes.
who Chris got some absolute slaver from Dominique Hamblin. Love Dominique, by the way. I love opinionated people. She's got plenty of opinions. Yes. And absolutely. So this is no slight on Dominique whatsoever, but she took grievance with Chris saying Ken Pitson said this was small, John.
Yeah.
It would still be unfurnished and small. I mean, I wouldn't say she was a big filly, anything like that, but I think she'd furnish up definitely. I mean, she looked very gangly going into the dip. I thought she definitely thickened up over her neck region as well. I thought as well.
So there's prospects then as a 3-year-old she could improve a lot.
Oh, Chris, yeah.
Because the engine's there.
Yeah. I wouldn't rule improvement out at all. I think there's definitely daylight where there shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Dominic can take comfort from the fact that I backed that horse earlier in the week at 6-4. So there you go. Yeah, that's a judge I am. 6-4. Yeah, fucking. What was the SP? Can't remember.
I think it was about 3 to 170.
Yeah, 6-4 I had on. Yeah. Lovely. So I was praying for it to get chinned. Actually.
She'll be pleased at that. If she listens to this, she'll be delighted that you have the temerity to slag someone of Ken's paddock stands off.
Yeah.
You know, who are you? Who are you? You mere mortal.
Yeah.
So Commissioning did the business in impressive fashion in the Rockfell. I do believe she could be one for next year, a good filly for next year. But now I'm sounding like blogger. So we'll move on to the Albasti Joel Stakes, where Mutter Sarbeck, one of our regular contributors, Nick Palfrey, I think it is, he was confident on this. Me and you, John, think it's a shit house.
Yeah. Well, I did say, my judgment might be somewhat coloured by the CWH paddock cloth.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, probably entitled to win that with Tempest running like he did.
Well, that's it. It's beat Tempest a length and a half. Tempest absolutely pulled its chopper off. And, he couldn't win. Well, could win, but, it looked bad early on. And like you say, a length and a half, it's not...
Just enough time on the front, I mean...
Yeah, and the time wasn't amazing. For example, if people want to say, want to think, oh, you're just crabbing it and this, that and the other, well, Zambak, the filly in the listed race, ran 1.5 seconds quicker So that tells you what an easy time that had, and it didn't really have to put it in to probably hang on. So if you're trumpeting and you're booming on Twitter that you're clever, you're not. It's that simple. Right, move on to Thursday. Newmarket again. It wasn't the best of cards on Thursday, but but having said that, I do want to make a case for Nostrum potentially being very, very good, John.
Yes. No flares on this one, really. Beat Holloway Boy fair and square. Holloway Boy probably would be better on a completely flat track. Make no bones about that, but Nostrum's open to plenty of improvement. It's got a lovely pedigree, that Mirror Lake. It's a lovely mare, that. I think it was Guy Howard's or Amanda Perrips. Homebred, anyway.
Yeah, Mirror Lake was trained by Amanda Perrett.
Yeah, nice sort. You know, I mean, he's a quality colt, no question about that. I was interested to see the old man's thinking about giving him another run. I'd hope not in the futurity or anything like that. Maybe the autumn stakes would be an ideal sort of thing to have a tilt at.
Dewhurst bound. If Stout decides it runs again, it goes in the Dewhurst, John.
For me, I'd have said autumn stakes myself. If I was getting in his ear all now, I'd be saying autumn stakes. But
no, if you were getting his ear all now, John, he'd have you in a charity cricket match with Michael Holding chucking one down at 82 mile an hour into your rib. He could still bowl at 82 now, straight into your rib cage.
Yeah, well, last time I faced him, he could still touch 90, I think.
Oh, great days. Right, that's the review done and dusted. John, have you any Jimmy Linleys or any paddock notes from this week? Because our listeners, I can tell you now, do like your paddock stuff.
I don't have anything worth passing on this week, but I might just have a Derby horse next week.
So stay tuned. Stay tuned, folks. On the Sunday sermon, it'll be released, a Derby horse from John. The podcast that's not totally shit. Right, we move on from the review. A special announcement, just Listowel attendance is up on 2019. Not really a topic to discuss, but positive. And it was great to see big crowds at Listowel. The Harvest Festival, Comiscus reporting big busy trades. Nice to see busy tracks. Not there to see hearsay or 5-star. They're there to have a bet, and that's what we want to see. So Irish punters, big thumbs up to you on the Listowel attendance this week. The first serious topic we're going to look at is Sean Levey, chaps. This is a rather. If it was me in the same place as Sean Levey, I would be on the phone to several lawyers right now.
Well, there's blame, there's a claim.
I mean, what am I right? I think he only had to ride one horse in the places, even with Saffie Osborne's treble.
Yeah.
To win the prize. I might be wrong on that because I don't really follow the racing league, but I read a tweet. That's what someone said he had to do. Literally just ride one to finish in the frame.
It should be of his ass, haven't it?
I mean racism, John.
God.
Even.
Let's play the community chest race card on this show. Yeah, I mean, look. It's. I'm sorry, but if you have a drug testing system, right? Surely, if you have one test that fails, right?
Yeah.
You surely right. If the rules are that you have to have a second test to clarify, then he should carry on at least until he gets the second test. And my common sense ometer is going off the boil here. So let's say if he fails the second test, right?
Yeah.
The B sample or whatever it is, the Tory B Coke sample. Then he has his prize money stripped when he's still riding in that period. It's a common sense thing. If not, in this situation, he could have carried on riding and he keeps all his money because the testing's fucked up and you don't go public on the first test.
Yeah.
No.
Right, so you basically contact Sean, right? So this is BHA. Hello, Mr. Levey. You failed a drug test, so you'll require a second test. Please be aware, on protocol, you can continue to ride, but please be aware, during this period when you do ride, that all commissions and prize monies will be withdrawn if you fail the second test, or if he doesn't pass the second test. So isn't that common sense?
Nothing to argue with there.
No, nothing at all. That makes perfect sense to me.
And then now we're not poor Sean, and like I said, like he has bills to pay, mortgage to pay, family to look after, and it's costing him possibly a large sum of money here.
Yeah.
What do they get for that racing league?
I think it's honestly about 20 grand. I think.
Fuck, no.
About 20 grand for winning it.
Yeah.
I know. So they've absolutely shafted him. They've absolutely stuck it right up him. And this could have been avoided if the rules were better. If someone analyses the rules, and this is where we say, John, all the time about the BHA, they haven't got much to do because they've hardly got any power. So at least get the things right that you're supposed to get right.
Yeah.
Which is things like this. Analyse your own protocol and say, well, hang on a minute. What happens if they automatically assume you're guilty on a failed first sample?
Yeah.
Just absolute shockers.
Yeah. So feel so sorry for Sean Levey, who, by the way, has rode for me in the past, just the once actually at Ascot onto trial, but
Stop it, did it?
every person I've spoke to about Sean in the industry says he's an absolute model professional.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, he's a really, really good fellow. Like I've heard no one say anything bad about Sean Levey. So I really feel for Sean on this, and I hope he gets some justice here.
Yep.
And there'll be no one cheering louder than me if he takes the BHE.
I think these pricks will settle out of court if he's going to have a go.
Oh, definitely. Well, what they won't, John. They'll probably go to court, blow another 100 grand worth of funds, and lose, and yeah.
And then have a about it. Well, get someone.
Yeah. And then have a dinner in Mayfair, John, to celebrate.
Yeah, they'll probably hire William Shatner from Boston Legal.
Yeah.
Well, another thing that happened this week in the news: Chelmsford. Some people say it's worrying regarding attendance. So Chelmsford were asked to put on this extra meeting. I don't even know why. But anyway, so it's an extra meeting. Chelmsford did it, of course, but then said no attendees.
No.
Which, I mean, John, doesn't this spank of the media rights tit?
Racing behind closed doors has given the fuckers a taste for this. If they don't think they're going to get enough in to justify hooking all the staff out and make a few quid, they can happen again and again. This.
I mean, this is ARC, isn't it? This is an ARC-driven. I think this is coming in. I genuinely think this was also to test the water.
It's ARC-driven, but I wouldn't know other tracks doing it either.
Yeah, because if they're right, it's financial sense not to accept 150 pay or even 100 paying customers. On a day, because the stewarding for that. You have to employ bar staff, you have to employ, and behind closed doors, there's absolutely no eckies.
Went for the steward's lunch.
Yeah.
they'll have to probably dine elsewhere, John, before they get there.
Yeah. KFC in Southend, I think.
The KFC in Southend is the world's best.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I can attest to that. It's tremendous.
Yeah, it's the best chicken. KFC chicken does vary. People say, no, that's impossible. It does. It does. There are better KFCs than others.
Carval's tremendous.
What, a town or a Kentucky Fried Chicken shop?
KFC, I mean, the town is shithole.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, Chelmsford, unfortunately, sadly, that people in Essex who have no sense of history refer to Chelmsford as Chelmo, which, of course, was the site of a Nazi extermination camp in Poland. And someone said to me, I'm going to Chelmo the weekend. I said, what do you mean, the death camp? No, Chelmsford. And, it's a universal shorthand for Chelmsford. So it's dreadful, really. So, resident of Essex, know your history.
Yes.
I'm going to big up Simon Rowlands here. And he's a bit brashish, Simon, at times. He takes offence a lot on Twitter. That's what I find. But he come with a great idea a long time ago about horses in training, because everyone's moaning about field sizes. But I thought this solution was fantastic, because if you're a trainer and you've got your BHA admin site on, it'll say horses in training, horses out of training. You have to tick it and this, that, and the other to let the BHA know this horse is out of training, this horse is in training. Now, Simon Rowlands came up with a green, amber, and red. So red basically is he's out of training. That's it. He's not ready to run. Amber is in training, but unlikely to run within the next week, but likely to be available within the next month. And green means in training, imminently seeking a run. Now, if BHA have got, so with that information, with the horse population, as you know, right, this will help fill races. So basically the BHA, apart from the fixed races like your heritage handicaps and your fixed races that tracks put on, like a yearly thing like the Summit Cup or whatever, you know, they're fine. But the filler races, if you like, they could tailor these races to the ones that are to the horses that are actually wanting a run. Is this a good idea, chaps? I think it is.
No.
So why, John?
Because people are liars.
Lies. It's all lies.
What's to stop me, right? I've got 40 horses in training, right?
Yep.
I green light the lot.
All great.
Fuck you, Rowlands. And I've already...
Yeah, bollocks.
Put what races on you want, and I'll go when I'm ready.
This comes perfectly onto the next topic, really. Liars, cheats, thieves, vagabonds.
What's that?
Ben Keith on the racing debate. That's what he thinks of punters. You're all liars and cheats.
Try to bend him over, yeah.
John, I didn't think of that, really. There you go. So John's awake to that one. So
well, you're not dealing with people that's come straight from the fucking monastery, are you?
This is what Ben Keith actually said. He said, "Look, I've dealt with these people, and look, there's no one."
They're all fuckers. They're all trying to have you over, trying to work an angle, cheat bastards. A lot of people on Twitter said, that's terrible PR, but he's not a corporate. It is effectively, an owner-managed business. So, and he's always said that. This is not new from Ben Keith. He does have healthy contempt for punters, because I dare say there have been a number of
he's had his leg lifted.
Yeah.
I mean, you can imagine, so anyway, it's the racing debate on ATR today, and we're gonna cover this in a little bit of detail. But we're talking about Ben Keith because Ben went on the show. Basically, I would say some of his points are valid. Some, like to most punters, aren't so valid in that he's obviously attacking punters. But Chris, like you just said, you get the impression that Ben's been asked to bend over for a few quid.
Well, no, I mean, metaphorically, not literally, but I think that they are trying, in his view, punters are trying to have him over. And he's been quite vociferous about that over the last sort of year or so. This isn't new. He doesn't particularly like punters. It's a very adversarial relationship he has with punters. The corporates say, "Oh, you're customers, we're all friends, have a free bet, come back tomorrow and have a cup of coffee." He's very much a sort of a betting ring bookmaker, but within a sort of an office environment. But he was pretty scathing. And from my perspective, I haven't tried to have bookmakers over. If I want 40 quid on something, there's no angle there. I'm not going to ring up and say, "Oh, can you refund it because I'm a compulsive gambler?" But he seemed to suggest that literally everybody, is trying to take advantage. And that's plainly not the case. Maybe his client base is different, but that's obviously mad, isn't it? When you're talking to punters that just want to bet, recreationally, they're not trying to con anybody. So I thought it was a very odd statement to make, but maybe his experience of his client base is different. But it was quite shocking, really.
We like debate on this show. And I'm not playing devil advocate because I said on my tweet I disagree with Ben on a few things, but bearing in mind he's a surveyor of his business.
Yes.
So he will know exactly what's going off with his online clients and stuff. So I mean, there is a part of me that sort of like believes him, and I mean, look, and I having spoken to gamblers that have suffered harm.
Yeah.
There are scams going about now where people are literally depositing, like 25 quid, having a bet, self-excluding, and then having a bigger bet because the self-excluding thing isn't instant. So it's like then having a bigger bet and then saying if it loses the next bet, it's like, right, I want money back because I'm self-excluded. And there are I can believe this. I can believe there are people going around scamming online because it suits the victimhood, doesn't it? It's the victim. You're the victim.
Wish I'd have that.
Don't
tell me, fucking hell. I think that is right. But what he said is basically every punter is looking to take advantage, and that's clearly not the case.
No, I genuinely think, like reading Ben's body language on that show today, that he's had some nasty experiences with dealing with certain people. And we'd all be the same. Like if we're sat there taking bets, and then someone that's really like trying to lift your leg, then you take offence. And I get that. That's the bit I agree with him. Poor behaviour, etc., etc. But like you said, the generalisation that everyone's trying to do that is just absolute nonsense.
Maybe it's his client base, because I don't know much about it, but they seem to be obviously specialising in laying sort of high rollers, and presumably sort of large punters that have been sort of excluded elsewhere, that can't get on. And I think he plays the person rather than relying on purely on the numbers. But maybe his client base differs from the rank and file. But that's not a scenario that I kind of recognise. Most punters just want to bet, get paid, and if they lose, that's it. I don't get the idea that everybody's at it.
Well, it's right. So regarding Ben Keith, and obviously we've got to be careful on this show, especially what I say. But there are people that are messaging me saying that Ben's sort of business model takes advantage of basically what punters are trying to do. So what Ben will do is Ben gets sort of like people that marker accounts, if you like. Then once he knows what certain people are backing, he's then sending people out to back those horses with other books.
Smart Elvis, that's what he's done.
Yeah, well, look, but that's isn't that what punters are trying to do? So why is he? So do you get it?
He might have an experience where the punters proper tried to shaft him, where I don't know, for example, there's a 3-horse race and the punter knows for the fact that there's 2 of them got bellyache or problems. And there's a race getting absolutely properly cut up. And I know it doesn't drop in your lap like that very often, but a punter wouldn't go in the shop and tell him that was the case. And say, look, I'll put you in, take a couple of points under because I want 3 times my normal maximum on. Punter would just go in and pull his pants down, wouldn't he?
Yeah, and to be honest, most people armed with that knowledge would take advantage. He's right. But your average Joe who isn't party to that, he's not got no interest in. He has no ability to take advantage.
No.
But yeah, sure. If someone said, "Look, there's a 3-horse race, about two are out the way," of course you'd want to get on, and you'd want to get on at almost any price, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But so he's wrong on that one. But rank and file punters, they're just not in the position to do what I think he's accusing them of.
there's lots of ways of making money. You know, bookmakers do it their way, punters do it their way. But I think Ben has rubbed quite a lot from looking at Twitter reaction today. Ben has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Probably Ben doesn't care. He's bothered.
No, you know, he doesn't. Why should he? Sort of thing.
Yeah, but at the same thing, at the same time, I did find him quite offensive because he came across as a generalisation. He wasn't like he wasn't saying some people are doing this, by the way, and it's like really, he just came across, well, punters have had this coming.
Yeah. Well, I didn't.
Why like you say, we've not took the piss. I mean, that's the thing. You know, it's like I found myself betting. I've utilised every account I can possibly use. Can't get on anymore. So then you utilise the black market because that's the only way you get on. Yeah. So what have I done? You know, have I opened up 100 Bet3 or bought Bet365 accounts on Twitter and you know and stuff like that, like people do? No, I've played the game like how it should be played, really. And there you go. So,
I mean, it's a tricky one, and I dare say, you know, he's not a corporate. You know, he plays a different kind of game to the corporates, and he's honest about it. And look, yes, he's got a lot of stick, but it's not the first time he sort of expressed his disdain for, you know, the rank and file punters, and you know, it hasn't seemingly done him any harm. And you know, and look, it's refreshing that someone actually comes out and says what they think, right or wrong, as opposed to, you know, big bookmakers, PR agents that come out and you know, and regurgitate the same spiel. So
yeah. I wasn't offended at all by it, I'll be honest with you. I just thought, well, yeah, so what you think, mate. Good.
Yeah, no, look, I've followed Ben on every. I've got 3 Twitter accounts. Yeah. Followed Ben on all 3. Find him, you know, like you say, anyone. And he does all these like Star Sport vlogs. He got Patrick Veach.
Yeah.
Icy's been on there. There's been lots of good information on there. So I'm not going to be the one to start slagging him off. And that's why I made the tweet today. I don't agree with him on certain aspects of what he said, but
he says that's
it's refreshing to have debate. We don't want to silence people, or we don't want to say, "Oh, you're an idiot," or whatever. It's an opinion, and it's his opinion. Yeah. He runs his business, and that's
lived experience, isn't it?
Yeah. He will know more about his bit. Obviously, what goes off with the shenanigans.
Yeah.
On like people trying to have him over than what we do, because we don't see it. We're not there, so we can't really pass opinion.
He was effectively an apprentice, as he mentioned on the show, to Tony Morris. He was a very, very serious man, principally a greyhound bookmaker, and his nickname was Dr. Death, right? He once said to me, he said, it was at Wimbledon Dogs, and I said to him, you know, "You going home now?" He said, "Oh no." He said, "I'm going to have," I don't know what it was. He said, "I'm going to sit in the Dorchester for an hour." So I said to him, "Why?" He said, "I do that every night." And he said, "I've done that on day 1," he said, "of my marriage to, you know, to today." And I said, "Look, I still don't understand." He said, "Well, if you go home for dinner after work," he said, "they'll expect you to come home every fucking night." So that was his view. He said, "If you go home after dinner, your wife will expect you to be home all the time." So he said, "Never go home straight after work. Always, you know, take an hour out for yourself." And that was his kind of, you know, philosophy. Very hard, very ruthless, you know, and he saw the relationship with punters as, you know, as a war. They're not customers. They're trying to have you over. So I think that's rubbed off on Ben in terms of his philosophy.
No, absolutely. And like I said, this is not, we, as everyone knows on this show, we don't have any sponsors. We don't have anyone pulling our strings. Absolutely not. Bookmaking is not easy, like what people think, especially in horse racing and dog racing, because it's so fucking bent.
Yeah.
So the point is, for a man to build up an independent business, you know.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sure some of you won't be able to get on with Ben at Star Sports. I'm sure some of you might do.
Yeah.
But he sponsored the Ground Derby. Oxford, he's real dog track. You know, you have to be careful when you start saying, "Oh, well, the man's a tosser, an imbecile." You know, and it's probably not accurate. As I said,
for me, the game would be better if there was more like him.
Yeah, if we had more independence and less big corp, which is what I'm coming on to now, RE this racing debate, I was very, very happy today because some people didn't think so. Some people think it was a waste of time, the racing debate on it at the races today. But I felt Matt Chapman did a very good job because this is a man that basically earns his money at the races, ITV Racing, Paddy Power, paid off bookmaker affiliates, right? That must have been very tricky, and we knew, you could see the body language. They didn't want to do it because this is attacking the very fabric that lines their pockets. And to be fair, Chapman, I thought, did a good job, and he raised the point. Yes, it was simplistic. It wasn't as in depth as it possibly could have been, like you see on a Barsters shirt, RE affordability, etc. But at least
I don't think he could have done any more than he did.
No. At least it's getting it out there, and I was very happy with the output. I was pleasantly surprised. In fact, I was expecting an absolute dumb down, and obviously that didn't happen. Regards to that, all good. So, I mean, are we in agreement that the chaps did well on that?
Yeah.
Only thing I'd have added, when Ben said, I think Ben said to Chapman, and he said about punters that taking the piss, etc. And punters have asked for this. This is what punters want. You know, you wanted the bog, and I can't remember who wanted bog.
No.
You know, I just wanted a bet. But anyway, what I said back to him is no. The reason why we are here, in terms of all these affordability checks and everything, is because the bookmakers, not Ben Keith, I'm not Big Corp rinsed people.
Yeah,
they rinsed people. They took ordinary people, they got them on the slots. They offered them big bonuses, big deposit bonuses. Deposit 2,000, we'll give you £1,000 free, right? Get you on the slots for the night.
Yeah,
you know, and they rinsed them. They absolutely ruined people's lives, and they did that for years. And now we are here because of that and no other reason. If they didn't do that and rinse people deliberately, they had VIP account managers, for God's sake, absolutely going after these people that were doing fortunes in, tempting them to come back and have deposit 2,000, we'll give you £1,000 free, things like that. And I know this for a fact because I've talked to people. I've talked to people how it happened. I've listened to both sides of the argument, which is why I can offer a balanced sort of nuance, if you like, on the subject. So this is why we are here. If they didn't do that, if they'd have just left it and gone, no, you know, we can, because if they can recognise winners, Chris, in two bets, they can certainly recognise people that might have an issue within 3 or 4 bets. I log on at 3 a.m. with £1,000 deposit, and then another £1,000 deposit, and another £1,000 deposit at 4 a.m. That's a bit, and you're based in the UK with the IP address. Well, that's a red flag, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. It's the same with, you know, people that you know, I suppose, what's the word, retail therapy, people who are depressed, you know, invariably who seek to make themselves feel better will go on, as you said, at 3 o'clock in the morning and go and buy a load of shit online, and then when it's delivered, immediately regret it. So, you know, that's a pattern that you can immediately discern from, you know, from the times and the types of bets they place. So, you know, the bookmakers had a chance to identify those players. You know, that's clearly someone with a problem. Yeah,
Chris, you got someone that works in the industry.
Yes.
That has actually made us. Obviously, we won't name said person. But...
No, not at all. I mean, this guy is, you know, an industry insider, and obviously he wanted to just make a few observations about some of the points that brought up on the show. One of the things that was raised was, you know, asking for all the information from a punter before a deposit rather than withdrawal time. You know, he says that makes perfect sense, but unless everybody signed up to that way of thinking and chose a start date, you know, no one's going to do that. So he said, like, theoretically that it's fine, but logistically it would be impossible to set up. But he's sympathetic. So that was one of the points he raised. As regards the requesting of source of fund documents from a bookmaker's perspective, he said, I can assure you that it's a huge drain on their resources. They throw many bodies at it, and it's something that they particularly don't want to do. What he says is that this information is not shared, that you supply throughout the firm, and in fact there are some very sort of tight Chinese walls around who has access to the information. And what he's saying is that the trading decisions that the bookmakers make in terms of restricting or offering prices is not made on the basis of the source of funds information submitted, because I think some punters are saying they won't let me have this price because of something in the financial records I've submitted. So what he's saying is that in the firm that he works, obviously can't speak for others, there is no contamination between the compliance team that receive the information and the trading team that take views on trading. So he wanted to make that clear, that a trading decision is purely that. It has nothing to do with the source of funds. So that was one point. As regards the and we've brought this up in the past, the apparently sort of overzealous approach that bookmakers compliance teams are taking to source of funds, he said that's as much a symptom, if you like, of the Gambling Commission, which I think Ben mentioned, handing out heavy fines. He said what he's saying is that once punters, or sharp punters or dishonest punters became aware that bookmakers were being fined, he said that a lot of these people came out of the woodwork, and as Ben said, were saying things like, unless you give me my money back because I've got a problem, I'm going to sue you, or I'm going to report you to the Gambling Commission. So, in response to that fear of being reported or fear of being sued, he said, legitimately, bookmakers are far too sort of overzealous in handling the information, and that's what he feels.
Good stuff. That's the thing. The books, obviously. Well, I would say big books want them. I would say smaller books don't.
Yes, I think that's right. And look, and I do have sympathy in the sense that as Ben says, people will try and find an angle and try and recover their losses by saying, it's your fault, you let me do it, and if you don't do this, I'm going to the Gambling Commission. And we know the climate is favourable towards, problem gambling, and the Gambling Commission are going to find reasons to hit bookmakers with big fines. So rather than have that, they'll say, all right, then, have your money back. So I do get that, but I'm not sure, that's always the case. And I think you're right. I do think big bookmakers want it more than the smaller ones.
Well, I'm going to come back to Ben Keith here. So Ben Keith describes punters as always trying to pull a fast one, this, that, and the other. Well, what's the difference with bookmakers? Because bookmakers are, to me, exactly the same. Everyone's like, he always says, punters are trying to gain an unfair edge, this, that, and the other. Right. Well, I'm saying this about bookmakers. I'm going to say this now, that no evidence. I'm not accusing any bookmaker of doing this, but this is what I think, that the thing that's happening. Right. These corporations. The slut from Stoke, as Lang aptly puts, she wins £1 million a day. Her company makes £1 million a day. These affordability checks are no good for any of the big books, right? So they know this, right? They know this. So what's to stop them cooking the books? I.e., so Gambling Commission come for the data and want to know about affordability checks, yeah, and have you done this? There has to be a way, because we know, like everyone knows about fiddling the till, doing this, that, and the other. What's to stop the books saying that said person that's done 50 grand in on the slots is on £500,000 a year when he's really on £30,000 a year? What's to stop them? What's to stop them fiddling documents or fiddling data?
Would the Gambling Commission even need to say the documents? Yeah,
they do. They actually request. They actually on random things they request a data grab, so they basically get the data that the books are getting. Now, for me, what's to stop the books It's like everything. This isn't a tax return. Right? This. You're not dealing with HMRC here, are you? You're dealing with gambling commission.
Yeah.
Could be an email. I don't even know it gets sent. But you're telling me this is like a protocol that's like that's got a trace. You know, gambling commission won't have access to surely the information that bookmakers will have in terms of soft banking and going in like that, right? So what's to stop the bookmakers cooking the books?
Nothing.
Well, they're publicly traded companies, so probably being naive, there was nothing in theory to stop them, but it would be highly unlikely because the publicly traded company effectively committing fraud, wouldn't it?
So what you're saying is then, so the books genuinely are. Well, if that's the case, then so literally everyone should be selling shares in UK books because this is just terrible. It can't happen. You're going to lose massive amounts of punters. So
well, I
can't believe that.
Well, that's kind of right, but we've always sort of chewed the fat over their model being, an endless supply of new people for the sort of the kind of the Ponzi scheme that the bookmakers seem to be happy to run. You're going to lose people, but there's an endless supply of newbies that that will walk through the door. So
I think as well the new regime in Downing Street, whoever's got their hand up Truss's ass working the controls.
You would love that.
Whoever is doing that, it seems to be take every restriction off every business, seems to be the mantra.
Yeah.
I don't see why they'd be rushing this through at all.
No. It is not a conservative, whatever people think. Conservatives about free market. Everyone's got freedom to make or lose whatever they want. Light touch regulation. So this is.
And these are as market manic as it gets.
Yeah.
Chris,
yeah.
think about something though. The book screamed to high heaven when they were reducing the FOBT stakes.
Yes.
Right, in government. They screamed, honestly, you could hear them screaming. They were screaming like the Remainers.
Most journalists don't have limitless accounts, screaming like them,
Yeah, literally screaming. Why aren't they screaming now?
Yeah, well, I
right?
mean, look.
So we're having to have a show on At the Races with Matt Chapman and Sean Boyce.
Yeah.
Right? And no bookmaker agreed to appear on the show. Despite William Hill emailing in during the show. Right? No big court bookmaker was represented on that show. And they even said at the start of the show, we asked them to appear and they wouldn't. So I'm sorry, but they're not willing to be scrutinised, and this is big court profit. They're not going to give up. It's shareholders. They're not going to give in to all this profit. So they need to keep producing profit. Affordability checks do not produce profit.
No, quite the contrary.
So exactly. So you've got to ask yourself what is going on. What's the truth, and the real truth? Because they aren't screaming. They are. God. Are you telling me Entain and Flutter haven't the power to buy off the gambling commission?
Buy off in what sense?
In sense that you're not going to bring affordability checks in because it won't work.
I don't know. I think we're going. I don't know. I think we're going down the rabbit hole a bit. I mean, I'm probably naive, so I just can't see it. But you could be right in the sense I cannot understand their strategy. So I agree with you in that I don't understand why they seem to be quite happy to go along with all this. And it's counterintuitive from my perspective because I think, well, why would you want to do that? But you're right. They've agreed without a murmur. So I don't get it.
And this is the time when the BHA have said we need to increase betting turnover.
Yeah, that's true.
How the fucking hell can you increase betting turnover with affordability checks?
No, you can't. And we've discussed this previously. I just don't understand the big picture. If someone wants to explain it to us, from the industry and say, well, actually, guys, you missed it. It's this. But everything that's happening, is going to dent profits. But you're right. I don't understand why. But probably, it's a piece of the jigsaw that maybe we haven't got. I don't know what that is. So
it's all strange. Very, very strange goings off. But anyway, just to finish the show, beetroot juice, Tonto's Spirit, improved massively for beetroot juice. John knows about that, don't you, John?
Beetroot
Beetroot
juice.
juice, very good for you. I've been on beetroot juice for about 5 years now.
There you go.
Beetroot juice? Is that a
Beetroot
thing?
juice, yeah, improved
Yeah,
tonsil
it
strength
was
massively. Yeah.
It's like you're pissing blood, isn't it? To drink that stuff.
It's more if you go for a shit, it's a bowel
Ooh.
cancer job.
Oh, fuck me.
Images,
Oh.
chaps, images. And something I was surprised at, just to finish us off, real world gelded, John.
Yeah, the cruelest cut of all, really. I mean, wow. That horse has done its best, hasn't it? You'd have thought.
Well, why don't they think it could be a sire? Or, I mean,
Well, not now.
have they thinking it's firing blanks?
Yeah, Immaculate Conception.
Or was
Weird,
that it? Maybe potentially firing blanks, I don't know.
That's something else we don't understand.
Maybe it was firing a few at home and they got a bit fed up.
Yeah, that was odd, I thought, actually.
Gelding, yeah. But the reason why is because Aldari in the Queen Elizabeth is my. I'm keeping an eye on the weather. Get an eye on the Met Office, folks.
Yes.
Right. If it starts to go soft and you can see the weather coming in, the rain, soft heavy, Aldari will be a steering job in the QE2. It'll piss all over in Spiral and anything else that comes in. Aldari would run to 125, 128 on heavy. Easy. For the shirt. Currently 5-1, but it's no good now because you know what British weather. If it stays good, it's no good. But if it's soft ground, Aldari will piss up in the QE2. Can't be more certain than that.
Man, Joe, if it's soft ground and we've got 3 winners in that fucking lucky 15, it'll be all eyes on the sprint anyway.
True enough.
Yes, thanks to Isa. Great show, chaps.
Thank you.
That's all from us. We're back on Friday. Oh, Kubler interview on Tuesday. That's good. Kubler on Tuesday. That's out on Tuesday. Don't forget to listen to that. Bye for now.